Welcome. Just for today, March 3rd, 2019. Relapse. If we're contemplating a relapse, we should think our using through to the bitter ends. For many of us, those ends would include severe medical problems, imprisonment, or even death. How many of us have known people who relapse after many years clean, only to die from their disease? But there is a death that accompanies a return to active addiction that may be worse than physical death. That is the spiritual death we experience when we are separated from our higher power. If we use, the spiritual relationship we have nurtured over the years will weaken and perhaps disappear. We will feel truly alone. There is no doubt that we have periods of darkness in our recovery. There is only one way we can make it through those troubling times, with faith. If we believe that our higher power is with us, then we know that all will be well. No matter how badly we may feel in our recovery, a relapse is never the answer. Together, we find recovery. If we stay clean, the darkness will lift. We will find a deeper connection to our higher power. Just for today, I thank my higher power for the gift of NA. I know that relapse is not the way out. Whatever challenges I face, I will face them with the God of my understanding. I very recently had 2 people relapse near to me in recovery, and there is nothing that hurts you more than hearing that. I've been around long enough to see people you think are rock solid relapse. It's so hard to see, and it just reminds me of how hard it is. The thing about relapse is when you first start doing drugs, it's innocent. For me it was. This might not be the case for you, but this is my experience. That's all I can really comment on. It was innocent. I kind of didn't really know what I was getting into. Then it got to a phase where I knew it wasn't good, but I thought I had control of it. And then it got into a phase where I was like, okay, I'm doing this a lot. I think I have a problem, but if I want to, I can stop. Then it got to, I don't want to do drugs. And I still did drugs every day. And then after about a year of that, I ended up, walking through the doors of NA. After being in NA and going to meetings and getting connected with people in recovery, there is no way that you're going to enjoy drug use. If there was a time when I did enjoy my drug use, there are times when I enjoyed it while doing it. The more I did it and the deeper down I got into my addiction, that period of enjoyment went from this big to 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 smaller and smaller. As the amount of drugs and the severity of the drug I was using went like this. And then, once you get into NA, you get all this information about how bad it is, and you hear people's stories, and you just realize the sheer bulk and gravity of the disease that you're up against. And relapsing is a setback of, it's resetting the clock. It's of the most enormous proportion. Whatever enjoyment you had using, if any, there is no way you're going to enjoy a relapse. From the moment you relapse, and this is all I can say out of what I imagine it to be, because currently, God willing, relapse has not been a part of my story. Since I walked in to the doors of NA, I have not relapsed. But yeah, you won't have any, that sliver that was already so small from doing fucking tons of your drug of choice, that will be gone, because you will know in your heart that what you're doing is so wrong, and you will know that your only path out is to keep doing drugs until you end up in the hospital or die, or walk back through those doors again and face all the people that you've disappointed with your drug use. Now, if that happens, if you do relapse, that's what you need to do. The people will welcome you back with loving arms. So if this happens to you, come back. To avoid relapse, and relapse for some seems to be a perpetual issue. For others, it seems to be like there is no addict who doesn't get close to a relapse. Even the ones who come in and stay clean until they die, or for 20 years plus, without relapsing. And I think the chances of you being one of those people is something like 10%. Like 90% of the people that come in will relapse, or they'll leave. Only 10% get to be that squeaky clean record with no fuck-ups at all. And that's a scary statistic, because it's the times in your life when shit hits the fan. Like a regular, everyday, your family's good, no tragedy happening generally at the moment, your girlfriend and you are getting along, your marriage is cool. Like on an everyday, no big tragedy day, if you're solid in your recovery and you're putting in the work, you shouldn't be at a huge risk of a relapse. It's building up those walls of defense so that when there is that tragedy in your life, you have someone in your family, a close friend that, dies unexpectedly, or someone gets very sick, or your girlfriend, you find out she cheated on you, or any amount of huge blows that you can, experience in life. The lows of life, the big lows, are when you have to worry about relapse. And every recovering addict gets tested on this. I have myself, I was lucky enough that I had a couple people that I talked to in a new person sponsor relationship. And I had a couple close calls at around 65, 70 days. I had built up my relationships, that relationship of sponsor to new person, sponsor to sponsee, that I was able to call them and they were able to talk me down. That's one of the blocks that forms the wall of defense. Doing your step work. That's another block on the wall of defense. Getting involved in the community, another block in the wall of defense. Going to lots of meetings, that's another block in the wall of defense. And another thing that the reading said today playing the scenario out. Now that's very important too. And what they mean by that is when you think about using, us addicts, when we think about using, whenever I did, I never thought the whole thing through, ever. I remember my happiest time when I was in my addiction, the most excited I ever got was when I had the drugs in my pocket but hadn't used them yet, and I was walking home from my dealers to my apartment where I get to go use, because I had all the using ahead of me. It wasn't even after I took the first one. The anticipation leading up to it was way better. And playing the scenario out, that means not living in anticipation. It means, okay, I'm going to get the drugs, I'm going to use, and then I'm going to use more, and then I'm going to use more, and then I'm going to call again, and then I'm going to use more, and then I'm going to call again, and then I'm going to be in a dark place, and I'm going to call again, and then the sun's going to start coming up, and I'm going to keep using, and then eventually I'm going to run out, and then I'm going to lay on my bed, and then I'm going to stare at the fucking ceiling while the sun's beating on me for the next 8 hours. And I'm probably going to start crying during that time, and then I'm going to think of all the disappointment I have for losing all my clean time, and then I'm going to think, oh, I have to go to a meeting, and then people from recovery are going to be texting me, and I'm not going to answer, and then people are going to be calling me, and I ain't going to answer. And then I'm going to lose my fucking job because I probably am not going to show up for work. And then maybe I'll turn back to using again because I'm so upset at myself. And then, look at that. We just restarted the whole cycle. And at any point during that time, like if I relapsed, I feel like I would end up in the hospital. Because I would have to go at my drug so intensely, chasing that sliver of excitement that it gave me at one time, because of all the knowledge I have of how bad it is now. So handle your business in recovery. Do one question of step work every day. Do it 2 days a week. Do one question. Then the next week, do 3 days a week, just one question. And then keep that going. Go to lots of meetings. These are all building blocks that you need. So when shit hits the fan in your life, you're going to be able to stay clean through it. So, that's it for today. Thanks for joining in. Relapse, March 3rd. Wish you a happy another 24. Stay sober, stay clean. Heavy Brown, out.